Tonight on News at 9, France decides. Centrist Emmanuel Macron elected the 7th president of the French Republic.
First at 9. This is Derana 24/7.
Also tonight, the visit of the Indian Prime Minister. Indian High Commissioner says visit of Indian Premier has no economic or political objective. Anti-corruption. A decision on the future of the Anti-Corruption Secretariat after a recommendation from special report. Accusing the government. JVP says a harmful project is underway in sugarcane production. And in international business, Chinese economy. China's April trade growth slows as commodities electronics demands cools. Good evening, Mahesh Johnny with Derana 24/7. Tonight we begin in France, where the French people has elected a new leader. France has chosen liberalism over ultra-nationalism as well as mainstream politics, electing novice centrist candidate Emmanuel Macron as its president. Macron, with his independent movement En Marche, will become the first president from outside the two mainstream parties since the modern republic's foundation in 1958.
Emmanuel Macron, striking gold in the first election he has ever contested, won 66% of the vote against far-right veteran politician Marine Le Pen. Macron is a liberal centrist with a pro-business view and has vowed to ease labour laws and give new protection to the self-employed. He is also a strong supporter of the European Union. Addressing jubilant supporters in Paris last night, Macron acknowledged voters who supported his rival Marine Le Pen, however adding that he would leave no reason for people to choose extremes.
Ils ont exprimé aujourd'hui une colère.
Today they express some anger, some dismay, and sometimes some beliefs. I respect them, but I will do all I can during the next 5 years so that no one ever has a reason again to vote for extremes. Our task is huge and it will require us to build from tomorrow onwards a strong majority. This majority to carry out change is what I expect from you in 6 weeks' time, because I will need you again and again. I will serve you to be loyal to the trust you showed me.
Je vous servirai au nom de notre devise.
Macron will be sworn into office this Sunday, and his next challenge will be to drum up support for his En Marche movement to secure sufficient seats in parliament or form a strong coalition at the upcoming general elections. The task will be hefty as En Marche currently has no parliamentary seats. Meanwhile, defeated candidate Marine Le Pen said the election had separated patriots from globalists.
French people chose a new president of the Republic and voted for continuity. With this historic and massive result, French people designated the Patriotic and Republican Alliance as the first opposition force to the program of the new president. I call on all patriots to join us to take part in the decisive political fight that is starting tonight.
Analyzing the results of yesterday's French election, Minister of Special Assignment Dr. Sarath Amarugama says Emmanuel Macron's win will benefit Sri Lanka as the threat to the European Union's integrity has reduced.
Macron stood for the European Union and for the unity of Europe, and not so much for the restricted interests of France. You look at all the European newspapers this morning, they have one theme: Macron strengthens Europe. This will mean that the threat to breaking up of Europe, which started with Brexit, has been receded. I don't think it has been eliminated, but it has been reduced. So Sri Lanka will benefit, because when the EU acts together, especially regarding GSP plus, trade policy and things like that, then we will have the benefit of that. Otherwise, we have to negotiate with each country separately.
Now, at 39, Emmanuel Macron is the youngest leader in the country and has had since Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, who is Emmanuel Macron? How did he rise to become the president of one of the world's leading economies?
Emmanuel Jean-Michel Frédéric Macron was born in the town of Amiens on the 21st of December 1977 to a physician and a professor of neurology. He was schooled in Amiens and later in Paris, where he also went to university, obtaining a master's degree in public affairs. In 2007, Macron married his former high school teacher, Brigitte Trogneux, 24 years his senior, and the relationship raised eyebrows. Macron worked as an inspector of finances in the French Ministry of Economy between 2004 and 2008. He later left government service to work as an investment banker. Macron was never elected a parliamentarian, but in 2014 was appointed France's economy minister in outgoing President François Hollande's government. His position in government became increasingly awkward last April when he set up his independent movement En Marche. Macron resigned from his post last August and set his sights on the French presidency. He has had a tumultuous campaign, heckled by false lurid claims, having been labelled the candidate of the elite, his campaign hacked not once but twice, his enthusiastic speaking style ridiculed. However, France has chosen him, and he must bear the country upon his shoulders for the next 5 years.
On to local news now. The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Tharanjit Singh Sandhu, assures that no economic or political objective lies behind the visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka this week. UN International Day of Vesak celebrations will be hosted by Sri Lanka from the 12th to the 14th of this month, with the Indian PM due to arrive on Thursday. The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Tharanjit Singh Sandhu, says Modi's visit will be significant as it will expand the existing legacy of Buddhism between the two countries. Modi is due to participate in a religious ceremony at the Gangarama temple upon his arrival, and President Maithripala Sirisena will then host a state dinner on his behalf. The Indian PM will be attending several other events during his visit. The Indian High Commission added that the Indian PM's visit to Sri Lanka will be exposed to 1.2 billion Indian people and will thus be a unique milestone in bilateral relations. Co-convener of the Left Centre, Chamira Pereira, calls the government to strengthen the anti-corruption secretariat rather than curtailing payments and funds for its officers. Speaking to Ada Derana, Chamira Pereira alleged that the secretariat is on the brink of closure, thereby affecting investigations into financial fraud and malpractice.
Anti-corruption secretariat has been doing a major role in investigations. But unfortunately, if this anti-corruption secretariat collapses, ultimately FCID going to be paralyzed. We have a doubt. We don't know whether there is any consensus between these political elites in order to ignore these financial crimes. This secretariat not only investigate financial crimes or briberies occurred during the last regime. They received complaints against this government, especially about central bank scam. So in that sense, we have a kind of a doubt whether there is a kind of truce or agreement between these two groups to shut down or to paralyze this unit. As citizen organizations, as a citizen who supported to this political transformation, urge the government to take firm action about this situation. And we want a public statement from the government. We want a public statement from the Prime Minister, from the President about this situation.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna also touched on the topic of anti-corruption secretariat at a media briefing today.
Anti-Corruption Secretariat Office and the FCID engaged in their investigation quickly, but recently it was disrupted due to many political influences. There is a rumor that certain documents were brought to the Prime Minister's office. Recently, we heard that the Anti-Corruption Secretariat will be closed and that its officers are subject to baseless complaints. We have called over and over again for the punishment of those people who are behind all this corruption.
The Anti-Corruption Secretariat was set up on the 19th of February 2015 with a view to assist the Anti-Corruption Committee chaired by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to investigate and take legal action against large-scale corruption and malpractice alleged to have taken place during the previous government. The initial term for Secretariat was for 6 months and later extended periodically. The current term of the Secretariat expires on the 30th of June this year.
Meanwhile, responding to these allegations, the Prime Minister's office said no decision has yet been taken on the future of the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat. A statement said that the future of the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat will be based on recommendations of a committee tasked with submitting proposals on the future operations of the Secretariat. The Prime Minister's office further said that a committee comprising officials from the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat and Bribery and Corruption Commission and the Financial Crimes Investigations Division are preparing a set of recommendations. The committee will propose whether to close the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat, merge it with the other bodies involved in fighting corruption, or to expand its scope. Addressing the media yesterday, Minister of City Planning and Water Supply Rauf Hakim expressed dissatisfaction, citing injustices faced by minor communities due to the delimitation process. He made these comments after attending a function in Kanti.
Many problems have arisen due to the delimitation process. The introduction of the multiple seating system is unfair towards minor communities, and we object. We can have an election only after sorting out these problems. If not, there is a huge possibility for the shortage of representation of minor communities. We cannot agree to the delimitation report which Minister Faiza Mustafa intends to present, and we will not agree to it without a proper solution on the complications which have arisen due to the report. We will arrive at a decision after discussing the matter in Parliament.
Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne says that the establishment of a successful medical service will be possible in the country only if the number of doctors are increased fourfold. Minister Senaratne made these comments at a function in Anuradhapura yesterday.
The capping ceremony of 86 nursing students in Anuradhapura Nursing School was held under the patronage of Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne.
Some people are worried that if CITEM is allowed, doctors will lose their jobs. We only have 60 doctors per 100,000, but we should have 200 doctors per 100,000. Considering the doctors who retire, we'll need at least 4 times what we have in order to establish a successful medical service. Our indigenous medical services had 1 nurse per patient in the past, but we are not even close today. We increased the Mahapula scholarship by 1,250 rupees. After doing so much, they say that we are privatizing education. By 2018, we will build hostels for all university students, so no student will pay boarding fees. Is this privatization? We will build a medical faculty in Kuliapitiya, and we have increased the number of admissions in the Karapitiya medical faculty up to 300. We will be building a number of faculties, and we have allocated billions for higher education.
Also in local news, Megapolis and Western Province Development Minister Champika Ranawaka invites Western Province Chief Minister Isuradeva Priya for an open debate over the Meethuramulla garbage dump collapse. Minister Ranawaka stated that the responsibility of the garbage issue in the province should be taken by the Western Province Council. His statement adds that the garbage in Meethuramulla was managed by the Colombo Municipal Council and the Municipal Commissioner who serves under the Provincial Council. Minister Ranawaka says Chief Minister Deva Priya had made several irresponsible and contradictory statements, and in an open debate they could discuss the management of the Meethuramulla garbage dump and all relevant issues. Welcome back everyone. Today is World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. This year's theme, Everywhere for Everyone, focuses on the marginalized and most vulnerable groups in our society and brings to light the importance of standing up for them. Accordingly, Sri Lanka Red Cross Society held many events across the country, while the main event took place in Colombo, followed by a walk to raise awareness on the environment.
The Sri Lanka Red Cross Society, then known as a branch of the British Red Cross, was established due to a malaria epidemic that killed thousands in colonial Ceylon in 1936. Since then, the Sri Lanka Red Cross has been part of a global humanitarian network that spans 191 countries, aiding more than 5 billion people annually. Every year on the 8th of May, the birth anniversary of its founder, Henry Dunant, The Red Cross movement the world over celebrates this day to raise awareness on current issues facing the world. In Sri Lanka, a walk was organized by Sri Lanka Red Cross under the theme Everywhere for Everyone, raising awareness on environmental issues faced by the country today.
Activity we are looking forward is in near future is garbage. What we should do for the garbage management, for which we are discussing with the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. How do we reduce the plastic? That is again 3 R's: reuse, reducing and recycle. This is what we are looking for main theme for this year.
Meanwhile, a project to build 100 houses for the displaced from the Aranayaka landslide also began today.
The office of the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says it is the bounden duty of the President and Prime Minister to ensure the security of the former President. The force of 999 security personnel who are part of the security detail of the former President was reduced when 42 police officers were relieved of their duty on Saturday. However, reports emerged that an order was issued to recall another 50 security personnel. Police media spokesperson SSP Priyantha Jayakodi stated that no decision has been taken to further reduce the number of police officers apart from the 42 personnel who were recalled on May Day. In other local stories, a UNP Special Working Committee meeting was held at the party headquarters in Sirikotha. The meeting was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
In today's discussion, Prime Minister thanked everyone who helped make the May Day rally a success. We did not discuss anything regarding new positions. We discussed how to move forward as a party. Our discussion focused on many aspects of the party. We looked at how to implement novel approaches and how to strengthen the party.
On to business news now. The Janata Vimukti Perapuna complains that the government is trying to re-implement a sugarcane project which was abandoned due to public pressure 11 years ago. Convening a media briefing, Janata Vimukti Perapuna expressed their views regarding the project located between the Nilagala and Maduru Oya forest reserves.
We have informed the public about this before and people signed petitions against it. Why are they bringing back a project that we have argued about in Parliament and the provincial councils? They say JVP is against everything. We are supporting the good moves by the government and we are against the bad. We have alternative suggestions as well. The Ministry of Agriculture has recommended food crops such as lime, pineapple, papaya, pepper and cinnamon for the area.
Onto the stock market now. Colombo equities extended the winning streak to the third session, driven by gains in selected blue chips. Market turnover was 638 million rupees. During today's session, finance companies managed to hold the attention of retail investors, and shares of Commercial Credit, LB Finance, Orient Finance and Citizens Development Business Finance were among the mostly traded stocks, along with Dankodu Porcelain and Access Engineering. Foreign investors were net buyers of 138 million rupees worth of shares. We now have the daily market update with Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The benchmark all-share price index gained 26.89 points to close at 6,667.46, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index gained 25.65 points to close at 3,827.34. Today's foreign purchases were 279.19 million rupees and foreign sales were 141.34 million rupees. There were 4 crossings today and the crossings turnover was 250.2 million rupees.
International business news. China's import growth slowed in April as inbound shipments of commodities weakened, while export growth more than halved, in line with the general cooling in demands for electronics. China's April imports rose 11.9%, easing from March's 20.3% rise, according to official data released today. Exports rose 8.0% from a year earlier, slowing from a 16.4% rise in the previous month, and April April's data leave the country with a trade surplus of $38.05 billion. Exports of electronics and machinery products increased 2% year-on-year in April, slowing from 12% growth in March. Well, back to Sri Lankan markets. The weekly Treasury bill auction today yields a 6-month and 12-month T-bill decline by 10 basis points each to 10.43% and 10.73% respectively. 3-month bills were not offered at today's auction, and the Sri Lankan rupee forwards ended slightly weaker on mild dollar demands from importers, but anticipated dollar inflows from sovereign bonds and syndicated loans prevented steeper losses in local currency. Rupee forwards were active with the spot next ending at 152 rupees to 80 to 85 cents per dollar compared with Friday's close. 2-week forwards closed at 153 rupees to 10 to 20 cents per dollar, ending down from Friday's close. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies today. More business news. Chairman of the Committee of Public Enterprises, Sunil Halunathy, today testified before the Commission of Inquiry appointed to probe the controversial central bank treasury bond issuance. The COPE chairman gave his testimony regarding certain footnotes made by members of the Committee on Public Enterprise on the COPE report regarding the bond issue. At the beginning of the hearing, President's Counsel Ramesh De Silva, appearing on behalf of former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran, filed a motion on the manner in which witnesses testify at the Commission. However, the chairman of the Commission, Supreme Court Judge K.T. Chitrasiri, stated the Commission will call for a hearing next Monday to look into the contents of this motion. The Commission is to reconvene at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Welcome back, everyone. On to sports. Defending champion Sri Lanka secured a dominant 93-6 win against Pakistan in the 10th Asian Youth Netball Championships in South Korea today. The Lankans shrugged off a shock opening defeat to Thailand and romped to a 43-3 lead at halftime. Following a 22-1 third quarter, Sri Lanka upped the tempo, scoring 28 in the final period with an 87-point win. Sri Lanka next faces Maldives as they attempt to mount a successful defense of the title. On to some cricket news. In the first day of the second day final of the Under-19 Division 1 League, Richmond College managed a first innings score of 307 for 8 at stumps against Anand College at the Thurston Cricket Grounds in Colombo.
The Richmond College middle order salvaged the innings following the loss of 4 early wickets. Avindu Thikshana came in with a score at 21 for 4 and steadied the ship with a well-paced 80. Sandun Mendes and Duveen Kalansurya later put on an unbeaten 105-run partnership for the 9th wicket, taking Richmond past the 300-run mark just before stumps. Supun Waragada stood out with the ball for Anand College, picking up 4 wickets for 50 runs.
Well, in the IPL last night, Sunil Narine and Chris Lynn put a 105-run opening partnership, carrying the Kolkata Knight Riders to an easy 6-wicket win over the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Late in the evening, Hashim Amla's century for Kings 11 Punjab proved insufficient to hold off the Gujarat Lions, who also won by 6 wickets.
The Royal Challengers Bangalore posted a total of 158 for the loss of 4 wickets, with Travis Head top scoring with an unbeaten 75. Umesh Yadav was the pick of the bowlers with 3 wickets for 36 in his 4 overs. In reply, Kolkata chased down the Bangalore total in just 15.1 overs, with Sunil Narine and Chris Lynn both scoring half-centuries at the top of the order. In the late game, Hashim Amla recovered from a reprieve on 12 to finish with 104 as Punjab scored 189 in their 20 overs for the loss of just 3 wickets. Dwayne Smith anchored Gujarat's chase with a well-executed 74 that included 8 fours and 4 sixes. The Lions' top order all chipped in as they mounted a successful chase with just 2 balls to spare.
Sail away, 1 bounce, 2 bounces and gone for 4.
Before we end sports, a bit of tennis news. Pablo Carreño Busta claimed his first title of the season, winning the final of the Estoril Open in Portugal against Gilles Muller in straight sets.
Carreño Busta, who has been in fine form on clay so far this year, took the first set 6 games to 2. Muller was able to take the second set deeper, but Carreño Busta was too good for his opponent in the tie-break. Having reached the last 4 at Indian Wells and the final in Rio earlier this year, Carreño Busta moves up 3 spots in the ATP rankings with this win to number 18.
On to international news now. With elections successfully concluded in France, pollsters now look east as South Korea prepares to hold a snap election triggered by the impeachment of former President Park Geun-hye. With 13 contesting tomorrow's vote, Liberal candidate Moon Jae-in is considered the front-runner in an election which may see the highest turnout in decades.
Over 13,000 voting stations nationwide are being readied as voters prepare to choose disgraced President Park Geun-hye's successor. The last election's runner-up, Moon Jae-in, polled close to 40% of the electorate. His closest competitors are expected to be centrist Ahn Chol-soo, a tech mogul turned politician, and conservative Hong Joon-pyo, who has been labelled by South Koreans as Hong Trump for his outspoken rhetoric and penchant for controversy.
On to our weather now. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most provinces of the island in the late afternoon. Showers can be expected in the coastal areas of the southern and western provinces during the morning as well. Now here's your city-by-city forecast. Well, that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Jani. Thank you very much for joining us. English news will return tomorrow at 9 p.m. with Indi Variyamuatha. And before we go, we'd like to take you on a ride through Udawalawe National Park. The park, centered around the Udawalawe Reservoir, is renowned for its elephants and its elephant transit home, which plays a pioneering role in conserving the majestic pachyderms. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.